fastest match we saw all day by far. It was like 7 minutes from, opening to handshake. And he's won the roll here, which is really good for his deck. Leads with an Experiment 1. One of the better starts that he could have. Joseph Greer has a 1-drop of his own in the form of Elvish Mystic, and we are underway.
So you're absolutely right. Aaron Barich did win and top-8'd back-to-back standard opens in Dallas when we had the double standard. So he won one of them.
Wow, look at this.
The other one.
Experiments 2 and 3 have hit the battlefield. A lot of experimenting. I don't think, genetic engineering on this level is moral, personally.
Well, regardless, Joseph Greer is going to need to find an answer here for these 1-1s because they will most likely soon be 2-2s and more. Flames of the Firebrand would have been nice, but no one really plays that card main. Instead, he just has a Flint Hoof 4.
He took 2 for Stomping Grounds to play it instead of playing it off the Mystic. Does he think that his Mystic is going to be able to block an Experiment 1 this turn? It seems unlikely. Although it would have, because Aaron Barich does not have another play.
All these experiments and nothing to evolve them with.
Mon's Goblin Raiders is not the most constructed playable card of all time.
And a Gore Clan Rampager, so a 3-3 and a 4-4.
Versus a bunch of 1-1s. Aaron Barich has the beautiful Beta Unsummon in his hand, but without any pressure, it's not actually very good. And yeah, he just uses it right away so that he can attack for 3.
Wow, this is a surprising turn of events. We see the 3 Experiment 1s in the first 2 turns, but nothing to follow up and evolve them with.
Yeah, I mean, if you have anything to follow it up with, that's such a powerful start. But as we've been saying, just 1-1s is not where you want to be. Aaron Barich doesn't have that many creatures, but he's got, all of his creatures obviously evolve it except for Young Wolf.
This is also kind of surprising here. Joseph Greer plays a Domri Raid and fights his
an experiment.
With one of the experiments, attacks for 4, leaves his Domri vulnerable on the counter swing.
It kind of makes sense because, if Aaron Barich were to draw a creature, then it would be hard to protect the Domri anyway. And if Aaron Barich doesn't draw a creature, then Joseph Greer is so far ahead that he might as well play for the worst situation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind that play. It follows. Even if it may not be the best play, which I'm not sure it is or isn't, it follows reason. It looks like he's got a couple of Mizium Mortars in his hand as well, which is pretty good in these types of spots, facing down individual threats. But he's going to go with a Flint Hoof 4. Now he's thinking about giving it haste and attacking or using a Mizium Mortars. He goes with haste and bash, but Feeling of Dread's going to put a stop to that. Elvish Mystic's going to get in for 1. And Rapid Hybridization, one of his Experiment 1. So he gets to ambush the Mystic and put a +1/+1 counter on the Experiment 1. So
not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a 2 for 2, sort of.
But he started with 3 Experiment 1s, and he only has 1 left. That is a 2-2.
And the big finish, Young Wolf. Not actually the worst chump blocker,
but also unfortunate that he drew that after the Rapid Hybridization.
Yeah. So, Mizium Mortars takes out. Ooh, Scavenging Ooze. That guy evolves himself. He doesn't need any help evolving. It's actually quite a good draw because he has enough mana to pump it out of Mizium Mortars range, which is the only real removal that these red-green decks play.
So we mentioned earlier that tables 1 and 2 were IDing. It actually appears that table 2 is playing it out.
Ooh.
They had the possible ability to ID in the top 8, but 1 or more of them looks like they want to play and maybe get that, lock in that number 1
Yeah,
seed.
the modified play draw rule. Seeding matters.
That's going to open up another potential top 8 berth for another table down the line.
Mizium Mortars, the Experiment 1. He can't get the Ooze. He could have theoretically suicided a boar into the Ooze and killed it, but I agree that that's not the best way to play it. The Ooze pumps up to 5/5, gains a bunch of life, and now the tables have turned just like that. It only took one card, the Scavenging Ooze. And Joseph's missing a bunch of land drops, so he's presumably has some power in his hand. We know he has a Gorkland Rampager, and it looks like he has a Thundermaw as well. And Strangleroot Geist that he hasn't had time to deploy. He's never been able to do 2 things in a turn because he's choked on mana. And he's, short from playing 4 and 5 drops. So Aaron Barich might be able to get back in this if he can get his aggression on. I mean, Joseph Greer is at a fairly low life total. Young Wolf is going to suicide itself to grow up a little, mature, as wolves do. And it is now a 2/2 after being blocked by a boar. And Joseph Greer draws a mountain. That is a big one. Not only the 4th land, but the 2nd red source. That's going to open up a lot of doors for him going forward. Looks like he has 2 Thundermaws, so really he just needs to survive until he can deploy some Thundermaws, which will close out the game quite quickly. But in the meantime, he is under a decent amount of pressure from that Scavenging Ooze. With the feeling of dread in the yard.
Not quite open yet for the Thundermaws. Threatening.
Just cast the Rampager.
The Scavenging Ooze continues to grow. Continues to gain Aaron back life.
He has lethal on board, so if he were to draw another Feeling of Dread or I guess his Unsummon's already gone, but a Simic Charm or Selesnya Charm, or I guess Selesnya Charm doesn't do it. But, if he draws another way to get rid of a blocker, he does have a lethal board.
He's going to pass. Joseph Greer really looking for that 5th land to start dropping some Thundermaw Hellkites.
Yeah, it looks like he's still short, but he's got, a Strangleroot Geist, some other things he could possibly do.
Attack with 1 boar and 1 boar alone.
This boar attack indicates a Gorkland Rampager, which he chooses not to use, but rather cast as a 4/4 after the Young Wolf jumps in front. So you having to use all your stuff for value.
Just because.
Yeah. Didn't like the way it was looking at me. Aaron Barich continues to flood out. Still just needs, 1 more piece to be able to get through for lethal. Where Joseph Greer is trying to get enough things on board that he doesn't die to this Alpha Strike, this Feeling of Dread fueled Alpha Strike, as well as try and get Aaron Barich dead before he draws enough Falter-esque effects to get through for lethal.
Oh man, Falter-esque effects.
Yes.
My favorite.
What does he have that he's thinking about here? I mean, surely
the
either
Feeling of Dread in the graveyard.
Yeah. But
maybe tap some guys, force a block.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's right. I mean, you have to just maintain lethal on board and try and kill him the next turn or the turn after. Wow, Thragtusk. That definitely changes the math, and now Aaron Barich's chances in this game have dropped to near 0. Oh, looks like he has a Rapid Hybridization. He went from, only needing 1 of a subset of maybe 10 cards in his deck to basically drawing dead. Once that 5th land came off, a Thragtusk and now a never-ending train of Thundermaw Hellkites is going to come off the top, or come off of Joseph Greer's hand. And Aaron Barich is under the gun, only drawing more lands. Doesn't look too good.
It's another land. Hallowed Fountain tapped. And here comes another Hellkite. That
A defensive Feeling of Dread time?
Yeah.
That's never a good spot to be in.
It has to be.
How do you win then, though?
You don't?
Like, theoretically, you can...
How do you win if you take 10 right here?
8, 9, 10, 11. He has 11, so he doesn't even have... Wait, if he Rapid Hybridizations, if his last card was Rapid Hybridization, he actually missed a shot at lethal there. I couldn't tell if it was, but he could have Rapid Hybridization his own dude. And that's exactly 13.
You're saying if he drew another Feeling of Dread.
So yeah, if he drew one of his 2 Feeling of Dreads, he could have won. Instead, he is basically drawing dead.
So there you see Rapid Hybridization, a functional reprint of Pongify,
except it makes a frog lizard instead of a
Ape.
sheep. Ape?
Yeah.
Elven Eyes made a sheep.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I like frog lizard. I mean, ape was pretty good too. I don't mind either, actually.
That guy not only ripping off his shirt, but his skin to turn into a frog
That is
lizard.
gross. All right,
Nothing
here comes the
doing.
defensive feeling of dread on the Thundermaw Hellkites. Looks like he did some quick math and found an answer. The answer was to attack with everything. I mean, I assume that means at least another Gorkland Rampager. Probably something else. Because... well, I guess the other Rampagers trample naturally, so yeah, this is just a Rampager, which is a lethal attack. And I can't imagine that Aaron Barich can not lose any creatures and somehow add 2 powers to his board and survive the attack with only 2 cards in hand. But he's gonna try, and he is welcome to. Like,
Block all the things.
yes.
Turn that guy into a frog lizard. Ribbit, ribbit.
It also
There we
gives him
go.
another Scavenging Ooze activation, which is another life. And Gorkland you.
Right. So
Was the attack? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I guess
Aaron
it
was at 2, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
3 from the scavenging ooze. We had attacked. He had attacked for 10 with the Thundermaws on the previous turn.
Yeah, actually, I mean, he did have that rapid hybridization, so I think he did miss his chance at a 2-outer, but he missed it anyway, so... such is life. Let's move on. Looking at sideboards. Joseph Greer is looking at a couple of pillars, maybe a 3rd mortars, maybe the 4th Hellkite. Wow, Flames of the Firebrand. There's a nice
got it
magic
on the
card.
board.
That would have been so good in the last game. I don't actually think it's that great against Aaron Barich's deck.
No. It's actually quite terrible. 'Cause
Yeah.
Experiment ones are gonna grow quickly. Young wolves.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Kill a front
Whatever.
side of a voice and a young wolf? Like, it's not the most profitable exchange.
But in that one moment,
Yeah, it would have been
there was
sweet.
3 experiment ones on the board.
Definitely would have been
Perfect.
sweet.
Sweet.
Looks like a couple pillars and mortars is really what he's looking at here. And from the other side, the Bant deck, we've already talked about his aggro package of Nearheath Pilgrims and Unflinching Courages.
Yeah, the unflinching courages. He's gonna pump up the toughness of his creatures past Amizium mortars, and completely changes the math in any kind of race situation.
Yep.
Good old armadillo cloak.
Don't laugh. It works.
What is that? The flavor text
Of Armadillo Cloak. Yes.
What is the flavor text of unflinching?
Couldn't tell you.
Courage?
It's really long.
Is it?
Yeah,
it
it's
some
like
story.
It's like
about
3 lines said by some general in some battle or something.
Some Selesnian general.
Yeah.
says,
Yeah, I'm
"We have the
super over it.
courage."
Yeah.
All right, well. But you knew the flavor text for Armadillo Cloak.
Only because it's awesome.
It's awesome, and this was back in the day when they had kind of these pithy one-liner.
Yeah.
Like the flavor text for Firebolt is reach out and torch someone,
That's good.
which is nice.
Werebear is always the best, though. He exercises his right to bear arms.
Right. Wild Mongrel is something along the lines of like he teaches you to play dead or something like that.
Yep.
We don't.
I miss those days.
I do as well. I also miss the days of like the Shakespearean quotes.
Yeah, those were good
That
too.
was like 5th, 6th edition, I think.
Yeah.
But now we gotta have the Planeswalkers tell their stories.
Yeah. Oh, brother.
So here we are, round 10,
playing for top 8.
SCGATL.com, Atlanta Standard Open. You can join the conversation on Twitter at SCGATL. And we have someone who previously joined the conversation. We were talking last round about your use of the phrase "turn the corner," and I speculated it might be from baseball when you're on third base, or it could be from a race. A lot of people said it was from racing.
Okay.
Could be horse racing, most likely. But Derek Coyme suggests that ships that had sailed past the Cape of Good Hope or Cape Horn were said to have turned the corner. So even older history.
Wow.
The ships turning the corner of Cape of Good Hope or Cape Horn.
I got some research to do tonight.
Okay, here we go. Joseph Greer has got Arbor Elf into Flint Hoof Boar, and Aaron Barich has Voice of Resurgence. Takes
So,
3.
pretty good draws from both sides already. Aaron Barich's hand actually looks a little land heavy, but he's got some pieces to work with, unlike last game. Looks like a Geist of St. Traft, which is very likely coming down right now. And earlier today, we saw him play turn 3 Geist into turn 4 Unflinching Courage It, and
that was it.
that elicited the handshake right there. 4-mana Hellrider? Wow, that is a nice curve from Joseph Greer, attacking for 8 this turn.
Both players coming out with pretty much their ideal draws.
Yeah, these draws are pretty stellar.
Aaron needs the Unflinching Courage to finish the deal here.
Looks like he's got a couple Voice of Resurgences. That is not quite the same.
Well, that could set up an interesting situation if he plays 2 voices here and has 3 total. How do you attack into that?
With a Gore Clan Rampager. But short of that, it would be quite difficult. And that's what he does. Attack for 6. And play 2 more Voice of Resurgences. Wow. Another Hellrider. Attack for lethal. That was a nice curve.
Arbor Elf?
Arbor Elf into Flint Hoof Boar into Hellrider into Hellrider. That was a turn 4 win.
That is what we just saw. Joseph Greer.
That's a turn 4 win through resistance. Like through creature, like through blockers.